Hello, welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker. Today I want to let first-time homeowners know how much you make and how much you can afford are two totally different things. Down payment varies depending on what loan program you use. Typically, banks are looking for you to put down 20% in order to eliminate PMI. HUD and banks calculate that 36% of your income should go towards housing expenses. These numbers are a good basis to see what you can afford, but they are not the end all to be all. Number one, you see, two people can make the same amount, but one has more expenses than the other. For example, typically a guy with no kids is going to be different from one that has to pay child support and one who is a father. Certain expenses and debts can be minimized or eliminated, but some cannot. 2. One person might be more disciplined than the other person when it comes to money. One may have a better credit score than the other, or they both have good credit, but they don't spend money the same way. Some people are very materialistic. You may say looking good attracts people, but only if you are in the right place at the right time. And many people, unfortunately, especially my people, we love to look good and we love clothes. I know I do. If you are around other broke people, they will not carry you to the next level. Learn, and this is what I had to do, how to sacrifice, identify my weaknesses and triggers, avoid temptation, and for me, out of sight meant out of mind. I had to replace a lot of bad habits and people in my life with good habits and better people. But to be honest, there were times when I did go through a period where I was alone, and to a certain extent I am still. When you're looking at the house, you want to see how much is the gas, the electric, and the taxes. Location and size of a house determines the cost. My home's in Georgia. I don't really pay for taxes and gas, and that's because I'm now doing owner financing. The water bill was higher than what I paid in New York. That was when I did the rehab of those properties before I even put somebody in. You want to ask the previous homeowners how much they pay. That is, if a home had previous homeowners, because mine did not. If it isn't a new development, then you want to ask the neighboring community how much they pay. So what I had to do, because my whole development was new, I went around the corner to the next block and I rang on doorbells there, and I found out from them how much they were paying. And I did the same thing in Georgia, but I ran into a lot of tenants. Luckily, one of the tenants, they gave me the phone number to their landlord, and I found out from her how much she paid, and that's how I got an idea of what I needed to do. Please note that high ceilings matter because you're going to be paying more in gas. Also, whether the home is built out of concrete or not, because what I find is that if a home is concrete, it's naturally cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Next, buying a house is one thing, but maintaining it is another. See, besides the regular bills of light, gas, water, and some tenants here in New York, most tenants in New York don't pay water at all. It's actually included in the rent, but most of them don't know it. But besides that, there's also landscaping, and landscaping is not always cheap. Then you have plumbing. Then there's the roof. Foundation can be expensive too. That's why you need to find out when those things were replaced and the upkeep of that before you buy the house. Trees in the Bronx and in California are protected and you can't cut them down. Some parts of California, that is. The plumbers, they have to pull the roots out of those pipes. That can cost you $300. I'm just letting you know up front. Homes in Jamaica, Queens, and Louisiana, some parts of Jamaica, Queens, many parts of Louisiana, are actually built on quicksand. So the foundation is something that they got to look into. That's an extra expense. I don't have to look at my foundation. My house is built on bedrock. So I'm good. And then floods. My area doesn't flood, so I'm not in a flood zone, so I'm not worried about it. But some homes are. And you're looking at paying a higher insurance premium. You also want to know, or you might want to check into, many people don't, but some people are now, is when the last time the levees were checked. That's important. Next, you want to consider, what if you can't, especially if it's a multifamily, what if you can't rent out the apartment right away? Or if you do Airbnb, there might be vacancy at times. Can you carry the costs if the extra apartment that is there stays empty for 2 months? Think about that. And that leads me to the next point. What if the tenant is not paying you rent and you have to evict them? Can you carry the cost of the house? Do you have reserves? You see, these are the things that you need to think about. And then lastly is to see how much house you really can afford besides using these internet calculators that they have out there. I say go to a free financial advisor. In New York City, we have the financial empowerment zones that you can go to. Outside of New York City, there is a company called GreenPath, https://www.greenpath.com, or you can go to www.nfcc.org. You make an appointment with them. They normally require that you write down all of your expenses, and then they will go through with you and assist you with creating a budget and giving you other financial advice, including how much home you can afford. Well, folks, that's all I have for you tonight. Make sure you check out my YouTube channel where I have copied my videos and have dropped the links for WFNY Radio. Feel free to pass this along. Remember, each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.